Okay guys, we're going to make a medium-sized bow today, and what I'm doing, this video is geared toward embellishing plain bows. If you have some solid color bows at home that you want to dress up a little bit, this is, you know, an idea on how to do that. And I'm going to try to make this video a little quicker than some of my others. This is actually what we are going to attempt to make. This was just a regular solid color bow. It is the sparkly grosgrain, so it is a little bit shinier, but we have the embellishment in the middle and on the tail, and it just kind of dresses it up a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. This particular grosgrain, they do sell it in the 2-inch at Hobby Lobby. This one came from a website called Ribbons and Bows. Oh my, they have about 5 or 6 different colors. It's really fabulous. Love this ribbon. It shows up so well. It's not a glitter ribbon, it's just, you know, it's got some sparkle to it. Okay, so again, the supplies that you will need, your needle and thread. I use the upholstery thread to crease the bows with because it's strong and it will not break on you. Scissors, glue gun, hot glue sticks, of course, and then I use the salon clip for the creasing in the middle. Okay. Also, I'm a big fan of the wood burning tool. If you like to use a lighter instead, that's fine. This is what I use. Okay. Some other things, rhinestone mesh. You can pretty much get this anywhere now. Walmart sells it. You can get it on eBay, Etsy. It's in the crafts section at Walmart. And then this is pearl trim. We're going to use the pearls today. This, you can find this at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's. You know, it just comes on a spool in the trim section by the ribbon. Okay, and I've got a big roll of this rhinestone mesh, but they sell it in sheets or whatever, so it's pretty easy to find. And then of course the ribbon, this is 1.5 inch cut to about a yard. And then you also want to get some 3/8 coordinating ribbon. This is actually the sparkle ribbon also, but you don't necessarily have to have, you know, both of them being sparkle ribbon. And you can do this with regular grosgrain. I just really like the sparkle grosgrain. Okay, and then you're going to need a, you know, an alligator clip or a barrette, something like that, to, you know, to put in the back. Okay. All right. To get started, you want to make sure that if you're using the wood burning tool that you get a piece of cardboard or something, cardstock, to put down on your surface. Okay. And first thing we want to do is cut at an angle, or at least that's what I do. Okay, and you want to start at one point and then you just go down and it melts that ribbon. It's really fascinating to me. Take that little piece, throw it away, and then of course you have, you know, the melted edge there, and it's not going to fray. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the other side over and do the same thing. You just cut it right at an angle there. Okay, I'm going to throw that away. Wood burning tool is so great for doing this to ribbon. Okay, and we're just going to make, you know, the regular 4-loop boutique bow. Okay, you just take your first loop. Up and you place this over to your second loop. Okay, and this is not a tiny bow, but it's not great big either, like the other ones I've been doing. Okay, and then for your third loop, you want to just make that loop and then tuck it in behind that little tail right there. Okay, I'm just going to pull that a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to adjust for the size. And then you just flip that other piece over to make your fourth loop. Okay, and this is basically what you have so far, and you just kind of adjust and make sure. I like my top loops to be just a little bit smaller than my bottom. Okay, and to help, because you know these bows are so large sometimes, to help hold before you crease the bow, to help hold it, you can, you know, put a little alligator clip right there if you need to. I especially do that with the larger bows. Alright, then you get your salon clip and you just kind of slide it down there in the middle. And you can take that alligator clip off at that point. I do anyway. Okay, and so this is what you have. And then I just kind of adjust and to make sure that my loops are the same size, because that's very important that they're the same size and they're symmetrical. I just kind of, you know, pull down my loops right there and make sure they're the size I want them to be. And same thing, you know, I just kind of pull them down and they look good. And you're just, you know, once you have it the way you want it, then you're ready to crease your middle. Okay, so you take your needle and thread and you're going to poke it through the center in the back. Okay, pull it through. Okay, and then basically you're going to feed it through the top and go around and come through the bottom there and just surround the center a couple of times. Okay. Go through the bottom again, and you want to end up at the top. So go through and you're going to be go through the top and then you're in the back here. Okay, and then you just pull until your bow is creased. Okay, and then you take your salon clip off and you just adjust. And what I like about this sparkle ribbon is it's stiff already, and you know, you don't have to worry about it being floppy, and it's easy to work with. You know, your bows stand up. I just love this ribbon. Okay, and then you just want to tie it off in the back, but do not cut your ribbon, or at least I don't. You know, if you want to do it a different way, you can. I like to put my barrette in and then surround it with the thread. So let's get our barrette. And if you prefer an alligator clip, that's fine too. Alright, so you want to take that tension bar out of the middle and then glue it in the back. You just want to put a little bit of glue there. Okay, and just hold it down for a couple of seconds. And then you take your thread and you just wrap it around that center a few times, and that way the barrette, you know, stays in. It gives it extra stability. And then you just tie it off. Okay, and then you can cut that piece of thread. Okay, and that's what you have so far. Okay, now what you want to do is get your 3/8 ribbon, and we're going to surround the middle. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. And then just bring it around to the front, surround the middle. Adjust your loops. Alright, cut it off and then glue down that flap. And you can heat seal it if you want to. This grosgrain ribbon, I find, because it's so stiff, you know, treated with whatever chemical already, it doesn't fray. Okay, so that's what you have. Now, you don't want to put the tension bar back in yet because we want to go ahead and do our embellishment first. Okay, so this is what we have, and it's cute just like it is, but we want to jazz it up, dress it up a little bit with, you know, with our embellishments. Okay, now we'll do the middle first. You just want to, and I want to tell you another good thing about the wood burning tool. You see the little fringes on the side there. Well, you can just take your tool and very gently burn those off. I find using a lighter kind of makes it shrink, and to me this is better. Okay, and you just want to cut a little strip. Okay. And then you're going to start in the back. And you don't necessarily have to start right here, okay? You might want to just start at the edge of the barrette, okay? That makes sense. Alright, so just want to put a little bit of glue. And you want to quickly, don't let that glue dry, you want to very quickly push that rhinestone piece on there. Hold it for a second. Alright, then you want to feed it around to the front and all the way to the back. And I've got too much, so I'm just going to cut it off. And you can see I didn't go all the way to the middle there. I just, you know, I left a little bit of space. You don't want too much of a bulk there. Okay. And then you just want to glue that down. Okay, and so far that's what we have. And if you just want rhinestones, you can, you know, just go with the rhinestones, okay? But we are also going to use the pearls, okay? Alright, before we get to the pearls, let's go ahead and do our tail. You just want to kind of, you know, get a piece that is the same, you know, about the same. You want to measure and then cut. And again, I'm going to melt my little fringes here. And I'm going to use 2 again because we need the groove in the middle for the pearls. Okay, and I think I can cut this little piece off here. Alright, so we kind of cut to measure, you know, make sure you don't have the little fringes hanging off. Now, I have mine cut at an angle. You may want to, you know, just cut it straight and just do like a square block. And actually, I should not have cut that off, so let me cut another piece here. So much for a short video. Okay. And I'm not, I don't know how to edit or anything like that yet, so sorry. Okay, now, alright, now for the rhinestones, I think the hot glue is good. You just have to make sure you hurry up and get the rhinestones down. Alright, I just kind of zigzag back and forth. You don't want a huge amount of glue because then it just kind of oozes out everywhere and looks like a big mess. Okay, so work with as little glue as possible. Okay, and so we have this glued on here, and that's what it looks like. And if you just have a little bit of an overlap or whatever, that's not a big deal. It still looks good. And, you know, you can, if you still have the fringes or whatever, you know, you can still melt with the wood burning tool. Okay, so now we have our rhinestones, and you can stop there if you like that, but we're going to add some pearls. Okay, and again, you just want to go to the back, kind of measure, and the little pearls kind of fit right in the grooves in the middle. Okay, or you want them to. So I'm going to measure here, and you don't have to completely surround it like I said. Alright, so I'm going to cut about that much. Now this is where, and I forgot to mention this, this is where I use the E6000. You don't need it for the rhinestones, but you do need it for the pearls because they tend to come off with the hot glue for some reason. It's just better if you use the E6000 for the, the pearls. It's just messy to, but this is very good stuff. Okay, you want to simply, oops, doing the wrong one. You just simply want to feed it through as much as possible, a thin strand around the middle, just right in the middle, as and it's hard with this stuff to do that. Okay, let's see how we go. Alright, and then you just kind of feed it around and get the pearls inside of the grooves, and hold it down. And remember, this this doesn't dry instantly. It's the only bad thing about this glue. And you're going to push it in, in those grooves. Just takes a little patience. Okay. Hold it down. Okay. Alright. And it does take a little while to make it stick. I put mine in front of a fan, a little oscillating fan, and they dry pretty quick, quick enough. And you can even put a little bit of hot glue at the ends just to kind of make them sit so they won't move. I use a combination of glues all the time. Okay. Okay, now alright, and now we have our midsection there. A good thing to do is to glue another piece of 3/8 ribbon over that, and it just kind of reinforces it and you don't see all the mess. Alright, so we're going to clip a little piece, or if you have a piece of felt, whatever works. Okay, and I'm just going to take, this is like a 1/2 inch or so, and I'm going to glue this over the back. Now people tease me all the time because I can't leave a plain bow alone. I just have to keep messing with it and putting rhinestones, and I just can't. It bothers me to have a plain bow. I just have to keep decorating it, if that makes any sense. Okay. Alright, so we just have our little piece glued over this. Okay, you just want to make sure it's down. And then, actually, you could put your tension bar back in if you want to. And you just feed it through the front there. And then set it down. I showed this in the first and second video. And you just hold it like this. And then you want to flip your tail over. And that way you don't have to bend it in. It's a nifty little trick. Okay. Now, that's going to take a little while to, to dry. Okay. Then we're going to do the tail. Alright, you want to do the same thing. Try to get a thin line, as thin a line as possible, down that center groove. I mean, you can try hot glue, it's just, it ends up drying bulky. Okay, you want to get those down in between the grooves. Alright, and I'm going to cut off my excess here. Well, let me get these other scissors. Alright, and there we go. We have taken a plain bow and jazzed it up a little bit. And this is so awesome for weddings or special occasions, to take a plain bow and, you know, put a little bit of sparkle in it or whatever. Okay. And that's it for this tutorial. I'll show you some of the other things I've been working on before we stop. This is one of the big glitter, 3-layer glitter bows that I just finished. And we'll do a tutorial on that. It's this beautiful lavender with the holographic scroll print. It's so big you can hardly fit it through the screen. Alright, let's see, here's my bunny rabbit. Finished that yesterday. Total experiment. Alright. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I love the funky loopy bows, but there's so many tutorials on these kind of things. So, you know, I want to do something different. And these little mini top hats came from Hobby Lobby. And then here's the over the top. It's got the rainbow and the tulle puff, and you know, it's got the little pinch proof cameo. And I've got the rhinestones on this one. Alright, here's my Easter over the top bow with the tulle and the marabou. And I love these pearl cameos. But believe it or not, I sell more of the big gigantic bows than anything. So I hope you enjoyed our tutorial. Sorry if it was long. I'll try to get better with that. And let me know in the comments if you want to see something else done. I've got a lot of ideas. And I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.